Hello and welcome everyone. Now let us start with the second chapter in your Class 12 Business Studies paper, Principles of Management. In today's lecture, we will be talking about the concept and the nature of principles of management. A managerial principle is a broad and general guideline for decision making and behavior. So, principle is anything that is advisory in nature. It helps you in deciding what type of action that you should take, particularly when you are in a dilemma. Now, the first thing we will do is understand what is a principle. We will see some life principles, and then we will understand what is or how could a business principle look like. So the first example I can give is we just saw the concept. Principles are general guidelines that drive action and help in decision making. Now let us see some examples of general principles. Speak the truth, respect the elders, keep your premises clean. You may also see that principles generally orient towards driving you in a positive direction. If you follow certain principles, you will get some good benefit. If you ignore the principles, you may have a risk of getting bad result in certain things. Now, what could be an example of a business principle? Treat your customers well. Now, before we understand what is the nature of business principles or management principles, we will see a quick differentiation between what are principles and what are techniques. Principles are general guidelines. It's a simple, plain advice. But techniques are something that tell you exactly what step-by-step things that you should do. Do this first, do this second, and do this last. We can see this in example. Treat your customers well. This is a principle. It does not exactly tell you what to do. But how could you apply this principle in the form of techniques? Okay. When your customer enters your premises, smile at them. Say welcome. Say good morning, good afternoon. Offer them a beverage. Offer them some snacks. When you speak business terms with them, always look in their eyes. Always listen to them properly. Make them feel that they are listened to. Don't finish their sentences. When you finish the business deal, shake hands with them. All these things are techniques. So techniques are something that is a procedure, also procedural in nature. Step by step you can write them so that you can follow very easily. But principles are general guidelines. I will show you the place where in your study material the difference between techniques and principles are given. Techniques are procedures or methods which involve a series of steps to be taken to accomplish desired goals. You can also have it this way. Techniques are principles in action. Okay. Now, I have highlighted these four places in the study material because you can see the same definition being repeated or being emphasized again and again in the first two pages. Principles are guidelines to take decisions or actions. Principles are basic truths or guidelines for behavior. Principles are guidelines to action. So they have repeatedly emphasized this particular point in order for you to understand clearly what a principle is. Now let's get into the nature of principles in detail. Now I'm going to explain the nature and characteristics of a principle by using this same principle, management principle, that I gave as an early example. So the first thing is, principles are universally applicable. It is similar to what we saw in the previous chapter, management as a science. Science has a universal applicability. The same way, some management principles also have universal applicability. We'll see this now. Treat your customers well. Let's say you are running a business. It doesn't matter whether you are an American. It doesn't matter whether you are an Asian. It doesn't matter whether you are a European or Australian. No matter where you run business, you need to treat your customers well, isn't it? So this type of principle is universally applicable. The second point is, principles are general guidelines. I just now explained the difference between principles and techniques. Principles are general guidelines. Techniques are the specific action steps. Treat your customers well applies to every business. But your company has a peculiar problem. Your company's customers are little weird. Principles will not help. In that situation, only techniques will help. Okay, next next nature is formed by practice and experimentation. For example, historically, I will just give you new principle just to explain this point, drive this point. Never leave your tribe or group. Thousands of years ago, there must be some human who would have decided to leave their group and decided to live solo. Humans were at a big risk of being hunted down by predatory animals. So what would have happened? There must be few humans who left their tribe and gone solo, must have been easily hunted down by a wild animal. Then humans learnt the lesson. Okay, if we stay as a group, we have higher chances of survival. If we leave the group and go solo, we have high risk of being dead within the next 2 weeks. Isn't it? So this is something, a principle. That's why we say that never ignore your social group. Never. This is something that even applies to us even in modern days, right? We always crave for community. We always crave for social bonding, isn't it? So this is again a principle, never leave your tribe or never leave your social connections. This has been formed by repeat practice and experimentation. Now let's go to the next nature, which is principles are flexible. Scientific principles are rigid. Those principles cannot be molded, cannot be used according to this particular situation. For example, a scientific principle, one of the examples is gravity. Gravity works everywhere on the planet at the same force. The force of gravity is what? 9.8 meter per second squared, isn't it? So it is 9.81 in Australia, it is 9.81 in Europe and everywhere on the planet. So that is scientific principle because it has absolute rigidity to it. You cannot make it flexible. But management principle can be used flexible. Again, treat your customers well. This is a general guideline. But can this be applied in every situation to every business? May not be possible. The degree of application of treating a customer well depends on business to business. Some companies will have extraordinary cash reserves with them. They have deep pockets and they can spend more money. So they can afford to give a beverage. They can afford to give snacks to any customer who walk in. Or they can give deep discount to any customer, to every customer almost. But some businesses might not be so cash rich. So what they can maximum do is just smile, greet them properly, give them a good customer support, but they may not be able to give greater perks. So that's why it is flexible. Principle is the same, but the application of principle depends on business to business. In your study material, the example that they have given is for this nature flexibility. Degree of concentration of authority or its dispersal will depend on situation and circumstances of each enterprise. So I will also explain this. What is degree of concentration of authority? Some companies, the whole power, the whole control will be in the hands of the board of directors, the managing director, executive directors. So that is extremely centralized power. The power is in few hands. That will work for some enterprises. Then there are many companies, many businesses that are highly decentralized, which means the top management will also not have too many powers. They will have power in very key, most important, top secret aspects of the company, but they will let go of many things. They outsource their control to the lower level managers. I have seen companies where the managing director will literally sign each and every check, which means it was an extremely centralized company. Also, it was a relatively small company, say 50 to 100 crore turnover company. In that company, the managing director had the time because he did not want to lose the control. He made sure that he literally will come to 3 days in a week to the finance department, take all the checks. He will reconcile every payment to be made, and he will sign in each and every check. Now, this is not the case in every company. Some companies, when they grow up to a certain level, the board of directors will outsource this power to the CFO, will outsource this power to the GM Finance. So GM Finance will sign all the small value checks. So this is decentralization. And board of directors will sign only the key aspects. They will have some limits. If the check is above 5 crores, if the check is above 10 crores, then board of directors will have to sign it. But let's just say it's a normal payment that you have to make to your creditor. Say it's a 50,000 rupee check, or if it's a 1 lakh rupee check, then the board of directors will not waste their time in signing that check. So that time they will just outsource that job to the people at the lower level. So this is decentralization. Now, how much you outsource the control to the others and how much you keep it within yourself, it's a matter of each company's personal decision. Then the next nature is mainly behavioral, which just saw principles are not just theoretical statements or feel-good statements. Principles are general guidelines, but what do they guide you into? They guide you into action. So again, treat your customers well. Everything is targeting you into make some action. Again, I will give you some example in your study material. We will see the principles of Toyota. So this is given in the very first page of your chapter. If you see this, honor the language and spirit, respect the culture, provide clean and safe products, create and develop advanced technologies, foster a corporate culture. You see, each and every principle is directing the employees to do some behavior. Everything is a verb. Can you see? Pursue, foster, create, provide, respect, honor, work. Everything is a verb. So it is always targeting you into an action. So it is behavioral in nature. The next thing is principles reflect a cause and effect relationship. Principles will always have an action element and a consequence element to it. Let me give you some example. Treat your customers well. Back to our old example. Let's do some experiment. For 1 month, don't treat your customers well. Don't welcome them. Don't offer them anything. Don't shake hands. Don't smile at them. Make sure that you don't treat them well. Then see how much sales you are making in that month. Then go to the second month. In the second month, treat your customers well, which means you just carry out every action step which we just discussed earlier. Then you see how much sales you get. So if you do this experiment and compare the sales between both the months, you will be able to see the month that you did not treat your customers well, you made very less sales. Cause, disrespect your customers. Effect, low sales. The second month, treat your customers well. Cause, respect your customers. Effect, more sales. So this is how principles will reflect every cause and effect relationship in a business. And lastly, contingent. This is similar to the flexible aspect of the nature of principles. Let me give you another example. The same treat your customers well will not apply in every situation. Let's say you are flying in an airplane. The flight attendant will always smile at you, welcome you when you step into the airplane, will give you a glass of water, will serve you with food, beverage and everything. But the same flight attendants will behave differently during the times of takeoff and landing. What do they always insist? They always insist that you put your seat belts and then you don't open the tray table and and they will also tell you to open the windows. So these three things, and also they will ask you to don't push back your seat during takeoff and landing. They will make sure that each and every passenger adheres to these four things while they are flying. And what happens if a passenger forgets to do any of these four things? The flight attendant gets a little strict and enforces them to do it. What if the customer still doesn't respect it? They will be added to the no-fly list. The next time you will not be even able to travel in that particular airline because you will be given demerit points and you cannot get into it. This is purely for the safety of all other passengers and safety of the overall aircraft. So treat your customers well, give them hospitality, make them feel good during the mid-flight. But during takeoff and during landing, treat your customers with a little bit of strictness because at that time, safety is more important than hospitality. So again, principles are also contingent. It varies according to situation and situation. So that's it for today's lecture. I'll see you in the next lecture tomorrow. Thank you and bye bye.